Hello all and welcome, and I am the MGTOW Philosopher, and in this video I would like to discuss more craziness of the left. New York City law gives fast food workers scheduling rights. That's right, because nothing says the left, Democrats, and crazy shit better than giving the employee the right to decide when he wants to work. It's hilarious. Okay, let's begin this roller coaster ride of insanity. New York readers. New York on Tuesday became the third and largest major U.S. city to guarantee a measure of scheduling smoothness to fast food workers. Yes, because the most unskilled workers in our society, the dumbest people, should of course have every right possible, including the right to decide when they work, how smooth their schedule is. We shouldn't have some kind of incentive to stop them from being dumb, low-skilled, low-paid workers, like having no control over your scheduling because it's a crappy job, so maybe I should go back to school, or maybe I should have went to school in the first place, got an education, got some skills, so I'm not working at McDonald's. But instead, I'm going to try to make this situation as pleasant and appealing as possible so that more and more people will want to work at McDonald's and have no skills. Yeah, that's real smart. Whose lives are often disrupted by last-minute changes based on their employer's manpower needs. Yeah, that's right. The fast food industry tends to be unstable, unpredictable, because people quit. It's a crappy job. People don't show up for work. I mean, when you're dealing in the low-wage labor market, it tends to be a lot less stable. So sometimes you need to call employees in. People need to be flexible. That's part of working a low-wage job. You would think people who have low-wage jobs would understand that. But oh no, I want to have some control over my own schedule, even though I'm not employing myself. The boss is employing me. So the boss should be able to decide when and when I do not work. But of course, I'm going to get some power over when I do and do not work now. Oh, that's just wonderful. Next, let's get a law passed that allows me to just take money from my employer without having to work. Woohoo! Mayor de Blasio signed a package of bills, this guy, that the city estimates will cover some 65,000 fast food workers. I'm going to give you some more benefits and free shit so you'll vote for me again. A key component of the package is a requirement that fast food restaurants schedule their workers at least 2 weeks in advance or pay extra for shift changes. So let me get this straight. If I am a fast food restaurant owner and I essentially schedule my employees, somebody doesn't show up, somebody quits, and I have to call somebody in at the last minute, I have to pay them extra? I have to essentially pay some kind of fees, some kind of a penalty? What a bunch of crap! Predictable schedules and predictable paychecks should be a right, not a privilege. Okay, whenever somebody starts talking about a right, you're getting into the territory of circular reasoning, because when they just say it's a right because it's a right, or it's a right because you should get a predictable paycheck because it's a right, that's not... They're just using different words for the same goddamn thing, and they're taking the conclusion and representing that to be the reason for the conclusion, and they're using the conclusion as the argument for the conclusion that they're trying to use as the argument. It's called circular reasoning, and it's absurd. So you should get a predictable paycheck because you should get a predictable paycheck. Yeah, okay. De Blasio said before signing the legislation and the law, with these bills, we are continuing to build a fairer and more equitable city for all New Yorkers. Equitable meaning equal, fair. What is fair? Life is not fair, you idiot. And as far as equitable goes, it's not equitable either. People who work, flipping burgers and dropping fries into a giant vat of oil should not be treated in the same way as somebody working for a Fortune 500 company, okay? It's not the same work environment. It's not the same skill set. It's not the same anything. There should not be an equitable level of treatment in regards to these two positions. They're in no way the same. They're not equal at all, you moron. You stupid old social justice warrior, hippie you. The legislation also ensures that fast food workers have breaks of at least 11 hours between shifts and are given the option of working additional hours before their employers hire extra workers. Oh, really? Okay, so now I see what this is. So what they're trying to do is curb employers essentially hiring lots of part-time workers instead of full-time workers. So they're trying to deter people from essentially breaking up their workforce into workers who essentially work less and less hours, who are not full-time, okay? Which I don't see anything personally wrong with that. Employers should be able to choose who they employ and how many hours they employ them. So essentially, the state is coming in and saying, hey, yeah, it's your business, but we're going to regulate it. Can anybody say central planning? Welcome to communist Russia, people. The legislation also ensures, oh, I just read that. Okay, so essentially 11 hours between shifts. So let's say you go home, you get off at, midnight. You won't have to come in again until, at the earliest, 11 o'clock the next day. How nice. Okay, so now you have control over spans of time between when you work, when you go back to work. You have options. You get to choose if you work additional hours. Oh, what did I say earlier? The employee could just take money out of their boss's pocket. They're not getting it for free, but the employee is actually getting to choose when they work. What if you're a bad employee? What if you're an unproductive employee? It doesn't matter. I have no choice but to schedule you more hours because you want to work more hours. So let me get this straight. This person who invested nothing in the business whatsoever, who put no money into it, who has no ownership of that business, is getting to make decisions about how that business is run? Oh, my God. Ridiculous. What the hell? The New York State Restaurant Association said the penalties for changing working shifts ranging from $10 to $75 per change will raise costs and add burdensome record-keeping requirements. Yeah. So you're making it more expensive for these guys to do business by charging them penalties for last-minute changes to people's shifts. I mean, it's going to cost these guys a lot more money to do business. The legislation, unfortunately, is going to hurt these quick service establishments. Yeah, the government has a real problem with fast food because the general public has been fed this endless diatribe of nonsense about how fast food is somehow bad for you. Don't eat it. And by the way, fast food has gotten a hell of a lot more healthy than it used to be 20 or 30 years ago. And, there are poor people out there who can't afford anything more than that. And there are people that are very busy. And a lot of these people are not fat pigs. They just don't have the time to go home and cook a meal on their lunch break, you idiots. Nothing wrong with fast food at all, as long as it's eaten in moderation, you morons. Something the left doesn't seem to be able to control. They seem to have no impulse control. Oh, I can't control myself. I got to stuff this burger in my face. Close down McDonald's, please, to save me from myself. With several states and municipalities having increased their minimum wage to as high as $15 an hour in recent years, here's part of the problem. Yeah, this $15 an hour bullshit, okay? Let's just put all small businesses out of business. It's not even small businesses. We're talking about big corporations, too, like McDonald's. I mean, any low-wage worker who thinks they're benefiting from this $15 an hour is kidding themselves, because when you lose that job, it's going to be impossible for you to find another job because nobody's going to want to hire a guy that mops floors at McDonald's and pay him $15 an hour when his only life skill is mopping floors and flipping burgers. It continues by saying, supporters of the legislation, which include the Service Employees International Union, of course, the unions, the wonderful unions support this. The unions that contribute money to de Blasio's campaign. What a surprise. And several other unions say fast food workers frequently have shifts eliminated at the last minute. Or added at times that may conflict with other jobs or child care needs. Then you know what you do? You don't have kids. Or better yet, you don't get a job that conflicts with your child care needs. How about you don't do that? Oh, but no, that would require people to be responsible. So let's just take over private businesses and tell them how to run their businesses. Similar scheduling measures for fast food, retail, or other workers have been introduced in several states and are pending in Connecticut, Minnesota, North Carolina, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, and Texas. Holy shit, I almost ran out of breath. They got so many friggin' states and municipalities thinking of passing these dumb laws. Will social justice and the left never end? Oh, the New York City package, which takes effect in 6 months, would ban unpaid on-call scheduling of retail employees and would enable fast food workers to contribute voluntarily to worker advocacy groups or other nonprofit groups, but not unions, through payroll deduction. So essentially what they're talking about here is setting up social justice warrior groups and actually contributing to them directly from your paycheck. Of course, it's voluntary. Yeah, right. This is absurdity. Spreading social justice far and wide. So, de Blasio wants to essentially make the act of deep frying French fries into such an important one that employees get to take over their boss's business and tell him when they can work, and when they want to work more, they can work more. And not to mention, of course, already telling them how much they should pay them in the form of a minimum wage, which essentially hurts low-wage employees because employers are just going to fire people. I got 10 employees. I can't afford to pay them all $15 an hour. I got to lay off 3 of them. So, I mean, and once these people lose their jobs, and inevitably they will, they're going to have a very hard time finding new jobs with their low skills from employers who do not want to pay people $15 an hour to flip a burger or to drop some frozen French fries into a vat of steaming, boiling hot oil. This is absurdity. This is socialism in action. This is the government just continuing to grow and grow and infringe upon private enterprises until eventually it will control everything. The ways and means of production, people, it is insidious. It starts slowly and it grows over time until before you know it, the government controls every goddamn thing in the whole goddamn country. It needs to stop. The insanity must end. I am the MGTOW philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.